Come on, wave your hand. Pick up Jesus and wave your hand. Too many minds behind me. Talk to me tonight. Too many trials are true. I said too many tell me to remember. Come on, man, wave your hand. There is too much to give. I want to sing it again. To Lord, too many miles behind me. No matter what you go through, too many trials are true. I said too many tears help me to remember. But there is too much to give to Lord. Do so. Said across the hard burning desert. Sometimes I struggle the right road to choose. Oh you do, but somewhere over there there is cool, clear water, and the peace is one word. You. Emancipation Park, how you do? I said to many sons lie beyond the mountain. I said to many rivers might be I walk through. I said to we have done. Awaiting over yonder. Oh, there is too much to get to know. Can I testify? Said across the hard burning desert. Sometimes. Say your struggle, the right road to choose. I said somewhere over it there is food, clear water, and the peace is what. Come on, we have the one. I don't know. Who am I? Look for your name, I know. He laid his hands on me. He laid his hands on me. Christ laid his hands on me. Who am I to see Jesus went and died on the cross? Up on the cross, he died up on the cross. He died up on the cross. Sign up in him. We have done. Jesus to stand me well. You stand me well. Sign up in him. How you do? Jesus to stand me well. Sign up in him.
Good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Don't find my voice songing, how it's supposed to sound. There's something off,
Oh, this seem like forever.
Let me see if that fixes it.
For your night of confusion, we're and been on so long. Can I testify? For your ship has lost anchor. Everybody, for this calm got you gypsy. Everybody do so, everybody. For your night almost over.
Definitely something is off tonight,
Everybody, say right on you.
Right now,
God is there with you.
God is there with you.
Singing you may not feel it. Singing you're not alone.
I'm not sure why that is taking place, or if it's only in my headphones it's sounding like that. You all let me know if you're hearing me properly. I know I'm not hearing me properly, so I'm just wondering if it's in my headphones the problem exists, or if you're hearing me properly where you are.
What kind of stuff?
Write your song.
We beg you, love.
Write your song.
Do so.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Singing right out, yeah.
Write down your song.
Oh, God is there with you. Oh, you know, oh, you know. Me say you may not feel it.
Oh, so yeah, some folks are telling me they're hearing me very low. I am not sure. Oh, I think this is, yeah, I think that's one of the problems there. Let me see if I could get that, and I think that's the next one there, yeah?
You can hold on to Jesus. Tonight. He can ride out your star. Oh, me ride out your star.
And I have been twiddling and so on. Yeah, that should be better now, yeah. Should be hearing me okay now, yeah?
Ride your star.
Write your song.
Mama, ride your star, ride your star.
Write your song.
Everybody.
Write your song.
I think that should fix the problem.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your
Yeah, I think that should sort it out, yeah?
Do so.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Singing right out, yeah.
Write down your song.
Oh, God is there with you.
Yeah, some were telling me they're hearing me low, some were hearing me high, but it's according to when you're seeing too, eh? And when you're hearing as well, yeah?
You're not alone. Oh, you're hurting now. Can I tell
Believe me, you want to make sure that you're hearing, eh?
you from
London!
you can hold on to Jesus.
Good night after a good morning, eh?
He can ride out. Oh, me ride out your star.
Write your song.
Ride out your star.
Good night to Nadine, Jason, and Shirley out there in the UK.
Here.
Write your song.
Time up.
A special good night to all of you on the YouTube.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus. We have you.
Write your song.
Do so.
And I say, mic me up, yeah?
Write your
Yeah, I'm hearing it properly now. From the time I started, I realized something was off. Nice? Yeah.
song.
Walk for your victory.
Write your song.
We have not for your victory.
Write your
Oh,
song.
me ride me, son.
Write your
Oh,
song.
me ride me.
Nice, so we're about ready to go, yeah?
Oh, me ride me, son.
Write your song.
Oh, ride the song.
Write your song.
Because, of course, we've got a lot to speak about tonight.
Song, yeah.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Just making sure I have the WhatsApp running properly.
Beg you, me
And
Jesus.
just making sure I have everything running properly.
No.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
Me beg you, me Jesus.
Write your song.
We have your man.
Write your song.
Lose yourself.
Because we haven't been on since Wednesday. Thursday wasn't it? What since? Yeah. Die too long.
He can ride out your star.
It's been an interesting few days, huh?
Stand
Yeah,
close
we have not spoken to each other. Well, except for London. And one or two of you that see me.
unto Jesus.
I'd like to say a special good night to our Canadian listeners.
Ride out.
In particular, that one Canadian listener that make sure they come and they find me. They come and they find me down home. They find me. Yes.
Who are not good tonight? He can ride out.
Yes, you know it's all love, yeah.
Them don't give up tonight.
And even better, that is my Springs people too, you know.
Unto Jesus.
SD Springs people.
Oh, he can ride out your star. How you do? Shout hallelujah. Somebody shout hallelujah.
A good night to you, Nurse Wendy Ann McGuire. I know those of you out there in the US, you're getting ready for the election taking place tomorrow. Yeah, I know that taking place tomorrow. A lot of you are getting ready for that. Yeah, somebody said tomorrow night, it seems as though they're going and make America great again. I'm not taking part. I'm a citizen of Grenada. Yeah, all you go work that one out up there, not me. I ain't taking part. But as a gentleman said to me this morning, and it makes a lot of sense, eh? Hey, Sherma, good night to you, my dear. Sherma, good night to you. Good night to your mom. Good night to your daughters, your children. Good night to everyone in the household, eh? A special good night to you. Hey, Raphael, good night to you. And man, I missed your sister. Yeah, I was supposed to see her last week, and I missed her. Good night to you, Camille, Teresa, Scott. I passed in town too early to see you this morning, so I'm not sure if you came down afterwards or if you didn't come in town today. But a special good morning to you. I hope that you're going all well. And I messaged you yesterday, lady. Right, yeah. Folks, yeah, we will be taking your calls in and between. But of course, I want to play this particular one in a year. You have to remember we're celebrating 40 years of the new National Party, huh?
40 40 years we going strong and getting
Thank you so very much, Mammy George.
celebration. It's a
Yeah, so everything is up and running properly now.
You're
Yeah.
looking real bright, and we moving on just right. Happy anniversary,
Spicy Dave, good night to you. Teresa Joseph, Wendy Ann McGuire again.
happy anniversary.
Sherma Fletcher, good night. Leroy Smith, Fitzroy Edwards, Deborah Laborde, Olive Mitchell,
Progress and
Cynthia Bartholomew, Dalma Scott, Arlene, Sherma, just go shout you out again. Right, Dealer, Philip, Chris London, Marilyn Ferguson, Clive Raymond, Christine Otley, Agatha Williams, Dalma Scott, yeah. Anastasia Peterson,
bright, and we move.
Anne-Marie Grant,
Celebration, it's a celebration. We love it. There's no segregation.
Clive, that auto spell on your thing, that's real, do you think, Clive?
Happy anniversary, NNP. Anniversary,
Chris London,
anniversary, NN 40.
Soul their man, Irvin, what's up, bro? I
Provide
hope you're drinking coconut water and thing.
for the nation future.
Taking a look at soak on Bathway Beach. Don't play with the thing, Make sure you go and you take your little soak and thing,
It's a celebration.
Dominic Antoine, Haro, Vero,
Future looking right.
Sherman Thomas, Red Girl Pascal, Jakim, what's up, my brother? Fitzroy Edwards, Dennis Pancho.
We're the best.
Hey, Pancho, what's up?
Happy anniversary,
Mr. Perryman out there in Birch Grove, what's up, bro?
anniversary.
Christine Otley, Kathleen Knight, Jocelyn Matheson,
Strong and getting stronger.
Jesse Sherry, Patsy Frank, Jenny Samuel, and let me see who else is there? Olive Mitchell, Sherma Jeremiah, Junior George. Hey, Junior, what's up, bro? No, not that Junior George. There's another Junior George. I know Junior George are shouting out. Lynn Holly Douglas, Cindy Thomas, Gavin Thomas, Stephanie John, good night to you. Tati, what's up?
If you tell looking right.
Velma Pascal, Adrian Watts, good night to you and the lovely Mrs. Watts.
Happy anniversary,
Mel Patrick,
anniversary.
a good life, Jacinta Livingston.
40 years of prison.
All the listeners via We Noise Radio, all the listeners via Real FM who are joining us tonight. We say a special good night to each and every one of you. Osbert James, good night, bro. Listra Abraham, watch if I go through that whole list, the program go finish. Francis Jordan, Agnes Henry, Ashma Charles, yes it did. The Debbie Seals, Kathleen Ledlow, Jillian Noel, Faithlyn Hallie Douglas, John Stafford, Errol Bonaparte, Alban, good night to you.
We're the best part.
Claude Abraham, come. Alban and Claude, I find two all your close, you know.
Anniversary,
Vanessa Lalji, Carl Jones,
anniversary,
Zayla, good night to you. Bedtime. It's after 8, bedtime, Zayla.
solid
Zoe, good night.
for the nation future. 40 years of greatness.
Zelia, good night.
Development.
Sky, good night to you.
It's a celebration,
Rastaman, Ira, good night to you, bro, and good night to Uncle Ba.
and we moving on just right. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. We love it. There's no segregation. We're the best party, and we know it. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, NNP. Anniversary. Happy anniversary.
And you know, before I end playing music, I think I have one thing to play for all you. Quick, I have nothing to say while it's playing. Let me play something for you, and I have nothing to say when it's playing. And when it's done, then we starting to go into the thing heavy, yeah? Because as I say, we have a lot to get through, and yeah, we already eat up a good bit of time. So I'm playing this one for you all. I have nothing to say when it's playing.
Going strong and getting stronger.
This is Malax again. I say my back broad is broad. Michael Battis, please don't take my bail. I want to go in jail. I want to go in jail. What you know about Black Pat and Bun Pat? Hey, call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I'm prepared to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail. And I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Smallocks in custody. Dr. Mitchell is a real world boss. He begged them fellas to come to class. Well, you know that all of them refuse, and now the whole nation confused. One jump and sell Miss McQuinca, Tevin cause them teachers for water. Be corruption inside Lato, but baby Jesus make Laco go. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I'm prepared to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail. And I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Smallocks in custody. CJ and AJ turn engineer, both in River Road and Mullen. us when project will complete. I'm telling you now it's 2 years plus, and like the project start to revert. No river, road and much more flood, and more linear full up with more. Call the police for me, and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail, I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see small ox in custody. I really thought Randall Robinson bad, but the man is a real big coward. Came Jones say fire Larry Barry, fire him as the secretary, but the man he really afraid Millie. Come and tell us how some people say. Came Jones say by no fluffy old talk, tell them fella time to pack and walk. Call the police for me, and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail, I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see small ox in custody. If all you see the farmer banker, ask him the reason he get fire. And if he pretend he ain't know, ask him about the house in Maribo. And if he want to create trouble in me life, I go send him a number for me wife. And if he really want to make confusion, tell us small ox have other woman. Call the police for me, and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail, I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see small ox in custody. I want to be like the Prime Minister. I want to travel the world more regular. I want to go Dubai and Nigeria, pose with millionaires and take out picture. And I don't care if teachers ain't getting paid. Like donkey, let you jump and breathe. A popular more than GTA is my name what's selling this country. Call the police for me, and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail, I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see small ox in custody. It took me a while to realize when Dennis Charles said that he surprised. He said he surprised at NDC and all them fellas is RMC. He said he invest plenty money over the years work with the party, but the one that real surprised me, so tell school he call him I don't see. Call the police for me, and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail, I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see small ox in custody. Call the police for me, and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail, I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see small ox in custody.
Me, I don't take in part. Small acts, I don't take in part. You're on your own with that. Yes, indeed, folks. And you see, everybody vexed with me now because I call out on the YouTube. So Jill, Gil Williams and Sharon Felix, Sherms Houston, all of you, Laslin, the whole squad, Joan, Rebecca, Brave Boy, Charmaine, Emma's, Ziggy, by your name calling Parang, but Max and Francis, good night to you and the Pity Martinique squad, Cheryl Lambert. Yeah, I hope all of you having a very, very, very good night. Enoch, I see you, Dave, brother, and Diana. Dr. Love, Teresa, I see all of you. Cuz Levine, I see you there. Yeah, Dixie Ann. Oh, what? Yeah, Dixie Ann. Girl, watch. When I tell you, it's a soul, yeah, Dixie Ann. Dixie Ann is a soul. Yeah, Dixie Ann. If you have an army and you have Dixie Ann, you don't need other soldiers. You can roll a Dixie alone. David Charles, Kenrick, good night. Watch, just good night to everybody. It's a bit late now. We need to go. Folks, the first one. I did say to you a couple weeks ago that there are pollsters at work in Grenada right now. So there are people on behalf of the government. In the first instance, I know of them calling around as though they're calling in relation to climate issues. So it seems that the poll was being hidden in a questionnaire on climate resilience that most likely stemmed from the Ministry of Climate Resilience. I cannot confirm that part yet, but I know that they were asking you about climate change issues, and then there were questions like which political party you support. I don't know what that have to do with the climate anyway. So they were hiding the poll within that. That was one. That was being done through a Trinidad company in connection with the Canadian company. Within the past few weeks, there have been various people in at least 6 so far that have contacted me personally and stated that they have been called in relation to a poll that is taking place right now. So it does seem as though the administration is conducting a poll at this point in time, because definitely not us. So they're trying to find out where they stand as it is with the Grenadian people and the population and what they need to do and what, so they're trying to find out that right now. So that is taking place right now. Be aware that they are doing that. Then last week in the newspapers, let me start to, pull up thing now. Last week in the newspapers, there was this particular letter that was sent to the NDC by, and let me see if I could pull that up over on this end. I pull it up there. Are you sure? Yes, right. Okay, the thing pulling up there. Nice. Let me see if I can get this to move a bit. Right. So when I was going through the newspapers last week, I saw this article out there. Yeah. And it's a warning to the NDC. It is a letter that was written by Dr. Justin Pierre. He is a labor market and migration consultant. What the man is a pollster. He does polls, and his methodology involves using artificial intelligence to say what the outcome of a particular event or election cycle or so on will be. And he has been conducting in the past few months a poll here in Grenada. What I find very interesting, especially with this letter, the warning to the NDC, is that he has conducted a poll in the state of Grenada, and he's saying that he has done it for no particular political party, which I believe, Dr. Justin Pierre, and I'm saying it loud here tonight, you lie. Because I cannot understand if you conduct a poll and you see this is a letter that he wrote to the General Secretary of the NDC. Of course, they released it over the weekend because they were intending the elements within the NDC that are seeking to get rid of their General Secretary wanted to embarrass him at the last moment. So they made sure that within their own newspaper, the New Today, that is, their own newspaper, that they seeded various stories to embarrass their own General Secretary, Larry Barry. That's to tell you what is going on with NDC. So they didn't bring this out last week, week before, or next week, or this week. They make sure that they bring it out the weekend, just a few days before the General Council of the NDC. But what I find very strange, if you are not politically aligned, if you are doing a poll where you're just looking to see how different political parties are doing and how different people, different candidates, different potential candidates, different MPs are doing, I would think that the same way that you write a letter to the NDC, you would write one to the NNP, isn't it? Isn't that just pure common sense? That in the way that you write a letter, you sit down and you pen a letter to the NDC that says different things like, hey, we've conducted this poll, this is what you need to fix, you need to look at this. Including this dangerous statement here. And let me just see if I can pull it up here. I consider this to be a very dangerous statement. When they speak about another issue is there is a lady on social media who constantly criticizes the government. She has over 40,000 followers. You have to do something about that. When they're speaking about do something about that, what exactly are you telling them that they need to be doing? Are you telling them they have to find some mechanism to shut up that lady? Because as far as I know, we were supposed to have freedom of speech in this country. We were supposed to be able to speak on issues as we see fit. And I assume that they're speaking there about Miss Ashida Charles, because if you're speaking about 40,000 followers, more than likely you're speaking about Ashida Charles. So if you're saying that, what you're saying here, try to shut up the lady because she's speaking and she criticizes the government. Is she not supposed to criticize the government? Isn't what you're supposed to be telling them is that they should listen to some of what she's saying and address the issues that she is raising? Instead of that, you're telling them that they have to do something about that. What do you expect them to do? shut her up somehow, because there are different ways you could be shutting up people, you know. That is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous statement that's being made there. And you know, they're brave. They publish that. They didn't just say it, you know. They publish that. So you're saying that she has 40,000 followers again? Yeah, it's in the article. It's not me saying it. It's in the article. Anybody could go and see it. That there's another issue with a lady that has some 40,000 followers. You have to do something about that. Yeah? That what you expect them to do? We have freedom of speech in this country. So whether it's somebody with 1,000 followers or somebody with 30,000 followers or somebody with 100,000 followers, if they're speaking on issues, it is their democratic constitutional right to be able to do so. Where you want them to go and buy her out? Offer her some money to shut up? As it is alleged has been done with several people in the media here in Grenada? Pass her money? Or even worse, there are other ways, as I said, that they could shut her up. If I was that young lady, I would immediately make a report to the Royal Grenada Police Force. I would make a report because I believe that that is a veiled threat. But it also says that you have to take any information that's coming from that individual with not a grain of salt, you know. You better walk with a whole salt pan. Not the salt shaker, you know. Walk with a whole salt pan. Because he write no letter to the NNP. He write no letter to the NNP and say, okay, this is what the poll's showing. And if you all are seeking to return to office, this is what my poll is showing that you need to do. He's only written to the NDC, which means that he is conducting business with a significant bias, which also gives me the impression that he's conducting business on behalf of certain elements within the NDC. You all understand where I'm coming from? I'm going to come to the phone lines in a little while. It shows me that he is conducting business on behalf of certain elements within the NDC. Not just that he's conducting business on behalf of them. We have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Sheldon,
Hi, good night, my dear.
you know you're so on the road driving, but you're so correct about this boy, eh? Listen to me, I and that boy from the same village, and he does lie so much. Everybody knows in the NDC so supposed. He hates keep poison like a poison. If NDC people in NDC do that far.
And therefore we can't take anything that he's saying. We can't take anything he's
I
saying.
know personally, I'm asking you, I'm telling you, we grew up together. You from the point. You lie, I'm trying to lie.
All right,
You
my dear.
understand? So the people need to make a report to the police in truth.
Yeah, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous statement.
He sent me a friend request and I declined. I know you have to accept the friend request. You know what I mean? I know him personally. You know? I don't know what Keith Mitchell do him, but you want to Keith Mitchell a chance. You don't live here, you live in Canada, you don't live here.
No, I know he's operating out of Canada.
You need to do a poll on your own self. You understand? I mean, I'm a member to the program. You know me very well. But I mean, I don't call, but I must call tonight because I find he getting out of hand now. The last time you do call, he said you see the tell that and all the other. Now you're trying to pretend you know, this is time to make police.
No, but
and
to anyone,
police in truth, man.
to anybody with common sense.
No.
Okay. All right, my dear. Thank you so very
Why
much.
you talk about the general council? Why it was? Why you talk about that?
No, this was from before the General Council.
From the
But
high-
we're getting,
high quality.
my friend,
High.
we're getting some
They
serious,
have anything they have to have it.
we're getting some serious feedback from you.
It's private. I say, but I'm not in West Africa Secondary School. Anyway,
All right, my dear.
yeah, because I say on the road.
Okay, no problem. All right, my dear.
All right, later.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, but I mean, that's clearly obvious that there's a bias against the new National Party, and therefore, any information that they're putting out poll-wise will have a particular skew to it. Anything that they put out, including the nonsense and total rubbish that they had on the front page, is being done to skew the population, in other words, to push the population into a particular type of thinking. So it is not that what they are publishing is truthful. What they are publishing is geared towards getting you to think a particular way. But the first thing that should show the obvious bias is that they only wrote to the NDC. If you're doing a poll as an independent body, and you're doing a poll that you just want to give a overall independent view of what is taking place with politics in Grenada, and you're presenting your findings to one political party, I would think that either you present it publicly so all political parties have access, or even if you do it privately to each political party. But what he has done is he has presented his information privately to the General Secretary of the NDC because he's interested in seeing them return to power. And if he's interested in seeing them return to power, in my mind, on a scientific level, it negates any other information that he puts out because all of it is geared towards keeping the NDC in office. So if they come and they tell you this is what is going on, you have to look at it from the perspective of they are telling you what they believe they need to tell you to gain the objective that they want to gain. So they're calling, and they're calling from a private number. So you see the private number calling you, the private number, and they're asking you all these questions about what you think is taking place in the country and which political party you support and all these sort of questions that lean towards them getting a better understanding of where they stand. What they've read so far, I thought they say NNP done. Well, they don't need to do no poll. I thought all they say NNP done. I thought they say NNP fini. Oh, all of a sudden they're afraid NNP so much you have to be doing poll and thing to find out where you are. Everybody knows that you're getting rid of the majority of your candidates. That is nothing new. We know that. We know that since about the first 6 months of you coming into office, that by the time you get to here, you would be getting rid of the majority of your candidates. But don't worry, no matter which candidates you send, the Grenadian electorate will be getting rid of all of them. Yeah, so you could bring new one, you could keep the same ones, all you have to go. Yeah, all of you all have to go. And as we speak to the electorate again, remember tomorrow night, the US elections will be taking place. So I know that when we're doing talking points, I didn't expect to see as many people as usually on talking points tomorrow night. I know a lot of people they might be tuned into talking points and tuned into the US elections. Yeah, because we will be doing talking points and we'll be listening to what's going on in the US as well, because there are implications for what is going on here in Grenada as well. Huh? Yeah, because remember, the US economy affects the economy of countries like Grenada, the smaller island states, the Africa Pacific countries, the Caribbean countries, Latin America. It does affect. So whatever takes place there, as they say, when they sneeze down there, we catching the cold down here, understand? Right, so we have to be careful and we have to listen to exactly what is taking place up there so we can know how we're moving on this end. Folks, the phone lines are open, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Also, over the weekend, I saw a young lady speaking to a particular issue. Let me take this call and then I'll get to that one. Hello, good night.
Sheldon Scott, the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Pastor Louis here.
Pastor, how are you doing tonight?
By God's grace, I'm doing good and good weather, yeah?
Yes, man. You go right ahead.
Wonderful. Sheldon Scott, I will be very short tonight. I just want to encourage the supporters of the new national party and what we see happening in our beloved country. I am pleading and I am begging the members of the new national party, do not be distracted. There is a lot of things that the NDC is coming with to distract us Grenadians from the real issue. The statement that came out in trying to shut up Jenny Simon, I am wondering...
My brother, hold on, my brother. I don't believe that particular one is Jenny Simon. I believe the article is referring specifically to Ashida Charles.
All right, wonderful.
And that's why I believe Ashida needs to make a report.
So we got to be very careful with this, I never believed that one day I would have heard this statement made in Grenada. I am a kind of scared, and am I encouraging the NNP supporters? Look at the voters list, scan it, watch it, pay attention, and the reason for that, remember, your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power. God bless you, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you so very much, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
440. Yeah, it's Ashida Charles they're referring to. When you speak 40,000 followers, they're speaking specifically to, on social media, they're speaking particularly to Facebook. So people know as Nivea Newman on Facebook and so. She needs to be careful. If that's the kind of thinking that they have, that they need to do something because they can't buy her. Because she don't tell them already, don't even try. Yeah? So what else you going to do to her? Try to shut down she profile? What are you going to do? Because you're not saying to try and address the issues, you're saying to try and address the messenger. That's a dangerous something. So whether it's Jenny Simon, whether it's Ashida Charles, whoever it is, if you're saying to address the messenger, that's a dangerous precedent to set. Just making it very, very clear. That's a dangerous, dangerous precedent to set with that sort of thing. 440-737-7347-329-3101. I'm starting to mix up my mouse and them tonight. Yeah? No. Talking points ain't stopping, my brother. We having talking points tomorrow night. Just saying that I know that the U.S. elections will be taking place tomorrow night. And due to that, I know that there a lot of folks would be interested in what is going on there. But I also wanted to point out something else here. Yesterday, while going through my social media feeds, yeah, see, I keep mixing up mouse tonight. Right, while going through my social media feeds, I saw this message by a young lady, Miss Camille Tompkin. Now, I remember back in 2021 or so, when she did this initiative, because right now you have Mr. A.J. Williams trying to do like that is his project. But we'll come back to that one. Let me go to the phone lines here. Hello, good night.
Good night, Mrs. Scott.
Hey, good night. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad, and you?
I'm fine. You go right ahead.
Yes, man. We keep on holding on to you.
Yeah, man.
Scott, I've come to say tonight about this Prime Minister. This Prime Minister, he had to stop lying. And he needs to stop lying for the Grenadian people. The Prime Minister went in Nigeria. When he went in Nigeria, he didn't come and say anything about the oil and gas. We got the story from the media from Nigeria. Right? They break the story. I was listening to the classroom tonight from the Prime Minister was on the Bob report. They asked the Prime Minister about the oil and gas in connection with the oil and gas, because Grenada doesn't produce oil. The Prime Minister said there's nothing so discussed about that, about the oil and gas.
No, we come into that, all of that in a while, you know. We're going down, brother man, we're going down piece by piece. We come into that in a while. We ain't reached there yet.
Let me just say much.
No, you could go ahead. You could go ahead. I just letting you know that we come into it, but you could go ahead.
Yeah, because
I ain't stopping you.
This Prime Minister had to stop lying for the Grenadian people. How could you trust this man? How could you have confidence in this man? When you're lying for Grenadians, you're not speaking the truth. You got the document. You tell the Governor General what to see. You put what's in Jim for she to see. And the woman right now, human may be asking questions about what is going on. You got the document. Mr. Boeing, you call Mr. Boeing come down there to help you about it. You got it. And yet, you're still lying. How we could trust this Prime Minister? How could we trust this man? But this man need to go. He had to go. And he's talking about what they do poll. Not one poll they have to do, you know. They have to do polls. Like they come like Green Lake.
No, but they have been doing because the one that I know of from about 2 months ago was separate to the one that's being done now. It tells you there's a certain level of desperation within the NDC right now.
That's correct.
And the fact that they've been rolling out the prime minister, rolling out the prime minister, rolling out the prime minister.
Yeah.
There's a specific reason for that. Yeah. I won't go into details because I understand their strategy, but there's a reason that they keep rolling out the prime minister and all other ministers disappear now.
Well, not only that, Sheldon, they see what's going on in New York. They see the crowd in New York. So they're shaking. But tell them you have more crowd to see. And they can try nothing on us because they're good and we better. And then as I heard the pastor said tonight, let us look at the voters list. Because they all kind of pang, all kind of pang. And the list.
My brother, it's not only that that's dangerous. And I think that's what I want people to know. They have to be careful because there is a lot of people, you may see the name and the name might look Grenadian. Yeah? So not just the funny looking names, all of them. And you're checking not only on the addendum. I think Senator Dwight Hossford was very clear with that when he was on. It's not just the funny names and not just the addendum. All the names. You must put a face to every single name that is in your polling division. Every single, even though the name look like somebody, you know, people just have the same name. On 2 occasions in my life, I've lived in places with people have the exact same name as me. Yeah? And I'm talking about just a few houses away with people named the same thing as me.
So let me ask the question, you know. Who sent this man? Who sent this man? This man not telling us the truth, Sheldon. This man lying for Grenadian. You go up there. You was in Nigeria. But who signed it? Well, who signed the document then?
Well, brother,
for the Niger,
we'll come to that. We'll come to that. All right, my brother.
All right, brother.
Yes, indeed. 4406377. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
I wanted to find out for me what is the procedure
Go ahead.
Getting a light. I want to make a citizen Irish. I want to Irish Dixon. I wanted to find out for me what is the procedure with going through the process. Please.
Papa, a little easier. I shall ask my friends who have been part of the constabulary.
Please do that for me, my brother.
I'll do that and I'll ensure that you have that information at hand, my friend.
Yeah. I want to look up Deacon, man.
Oh, gosh. All right, Fandas. Man say you want to know the procedure to enforce a citizen's arrest, so you want to find out the procedure. My goodness. 44073773473293101. And I was speaking about this situation. Now, back in 2021, now that is Miss Camille Tompkin. She used $7,000 of her own money and she made the 60 hampers. The story is there on the page. I believe there's a video. Camille, if you're listening tonight, give us a call, my dear. Right, you could call us on the WhatsApp. You could call us anywhere. Give us a call. And she made her hampers and so it was brought down. Well, no, she sent the money down and so and they did the hampers. And now you have the situation where the MP is posting up to yesterday. Remember the days when he used to just load up his truck and distribute things to the needy and it wasn't about politics and so, but he's not mentioning that it wasn't him money that spent. That he was merely used as a tool to get the job done. The young lady never went out there and said she wants your name all over the place and that sort of thing. But I mean, it must be hurtful when you see somebody trying to give the impression now that this was their good deed. Something definitely had to be wrong, man. Something definitely had to be wrong with them. They can't be well in their head. You know what that is called in the United States? They call that stolen valor. When you try it, like you go and you wear a military uniform, and it's actually a crime. It's a federal crime in the United States to do that, to wear a military uniform and claim that you were part of the armed forces and try to get benefits due to that. So like, you know, there are different places that vets, people who have been in the military, especially if they've been to war zones and so on, they fought, that they can go in the U.S. and they would be able to get a meal either free or at half price or whatever it is. and the other benefits that vets get. So if you play, you're dressing like a vet, even if you're just on the street and you're panhandling, and you put on a uniform and you say, well, you fought in Vietnam, or you fought in Grenada, or you fought wherever, and you put on a uniform, that is called stolen valor. You cannot dress and play that you were part of the military. It's an offense. It's actually a criminal offense to do that in the United States. And what Mr. Andy Williams is doing here is stolen valor. He's trying to do like he was the one that did this. And yes, it had something to do with you. It was sent to you, and you were the one that went out and distributed. And so on behalf of the young lady, so don't try to take the valor for it. Don't try to take the thing like you went and you do that and all kind of thing, and it was your money that you said. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all, and it's unfair. And instead of apologizing to the young lady and admitting that what she said is true, what he do? He block her. That insult to injury, because she talked about it and she probably tagged him, he blocks her. Now that is the way to operate. It's a good thing she has all she receipt for what she's saying and what she sent and all them kind of thing. Anyway, 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get inside. Don't worry, I'll play the parang at the end again. I ain't play. We don't have much time to play it now. So I go play the parang at the end again. And I know, hello, good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hey, good night. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right. Yes, I see you were trying to reach us.
Yes, I was just trying to give you an update about in regards to the mission that we did.
Yes.
I know you're on a different topic, but
No. Give us the update. That's why I call you back. We need to hear how the thing went, man. I was all in Pity Martinique, Carriacou. All you went all over.
Yes, it was productive. We managed to do 67 cataract surgeries on patients. We had more that was scheduled, but due to other issues, some of them were unable to do it. So we managed to do 67 cataract surgeries. We presented 2 scholarships to 2 students from NULO. And we gave a check in the amount of $5,000 US to assist with the hospital in Carriacou.
So what? And you all went to Pity. What did you all get to do in Pity Martinique?
We went to Pity Martinique, Sheldon. This is not to bash anyone. It's just it's just constructive criticism, just to say I mean, when you as a healthcare professional, when you look at stuff health-wise, it breaks your heart. And I know a lot of people is like, because she's an NNP. This has nothing to do with NNP. It has nothing to do with NDC. As a healthcare worker, your focus is on lives, saving lives, trying to make a difference. So one of the things I noticed in Grenada and Carriacou, I get to Pity Martinique in a few minutes. So one of the things I noticed in Grenada and Carriacou, especially in the clinics, and I'm not going to say any clinic name, and it's not, because like I said, it's not to be negative. But spoke to patients in the clinics one-on-one, did some teaching with them, did some breast examination, then wound care, assisted some of them in there. And most of them the main issue with them is like to pay for the screening. So your colonoscopy and your mammogram and all of that stuff, they were like, they can't afford it. It's, that's something that's, it's a necessity for people, and not being able to afford it is a huge problem. One of the clinics, they didn't really have, this from speaking to the patients. I spoke to them one-on-one, and there was one that stated it's difficult doing blood work also, because you have to see the doctor, and then you have to go to Grenville, I think he said, to pay for the blood test. He said sometimes he doesn't even have the money to pay for the blood test. So if he doesn't have the money, then he's diabetic and he can get his sugar, get his A1C levels and know how his sugar is. That particular clinic did not have a glucose monitor machine. So I was able to get them one so that they would have at least one, to do the patient's sugar. I was a little bit worried because he told me, he said he was in there from since 6:30. He said he was waiting online. I got there, it was like, we stayed there until like 1 o'clock. And I was worried in a sense that they're sitting there and the sugar could drop. If the sugar drops and they passed out, you don't have a glucometer to check the sugar. By the time you will know, the first thing you should do when somebody's not feeling well is check the sugar. So if you can do that, then that's an issue that could help you save lives with a machine. So like I said, I was able to give them a machine. Hopefully that would last and keep them there for a little while. They talked about also planting. When I spoke to them about healthy eating, your vegetables and stuff, you need to have more veggies on your plate and carbs and stuff. A few of them mentioned to me, which was very sad. They said, how can we eat healthy? Because when we plant our stuff, people go and steal it and sell it. Sheldon, this is...
Hello?
I'm right here.
It's emotional. I understand. Yeah.
It's emotional. The stories I hear is just, and like I said, it's not to bash or anything. It's just, I'm just sharing it because when you hear it, it just makes you sad. We went to Carriacou and then to Petit Martinique, and when we got there again, few people had little tears in their eyes with the nurses because the clinic, I felt really bad. And if I had known that, I would have speak to the team and probably say, let's give the money to Petit Martinique instead of Carriacou, because the center there, the clinic there, there's no roof on it. And I stood there and I was getting wet in my head, and I'm like, where is that water coming? When I looked up, it was dripping from the floor above me, but in the roof there was no roof. So the nurses there, I felt really bad for them.
Oh boy.
So I'm saying this to say, again, when I was for the independence, when I was saying, take the money and use it health-wise, it wasn't about a party or all of that stuff. It's because I know about healthcare, and I know about when people can't afford stuff. And my thing is always going to be, if you have money, the place you put is in healthcare. That comes first. Get some machines, get some equipment, put it into staffing. Because if you don't have proper staffing, the nurses get burnt out. And when they get burnt out and they get sick, then you have nobody to care for the patients. That was one of the reasons what forced me, Sheldon, to become a nurse practitioner. Because like I said, as a registered nurse working in the hospital, you get burnt out quickly. And I'm a person that I'm always on the go. So you see, sometimes I'll put on a pump today and tomorrow it's gone, because I'm like, you see me here in 5 minutes and 2 seconds, you see me way down there and you want to know how I get there. I'm fast moving. That was one of the reasons why I went to do the nurse practitioner, because it's very hard when you don't have staffing. So I said to myself, you know what? Yes, I have to go through work full time, had my son, did all of that and still had to do that. That was a way to push me to say, you know what? You need this and you have to get this. Because when you don't have the proper staffing, the patients suffer. The patients suffer, the workers suffer, everybody suffer. So, I'll just say, I think we did a good job, because even if you get to reach at least one person, especially with diet, with assisting them in any way you can medically, I would say, that's a good thing. So all in all, it went well. We were happy. We did have fun, although we were like going around the clock because you get up like 6 o'clock. By the time we leave 8 o'clock for the bus, we come back at night. We didn't have barely had enough time to even go on the beach because we were busy. But I'm glad we did it.
Yes, indeed.
I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad, like I said, I spoke to people one-on-one. Some people came with medical issues that, they came, I was able to, give them advice and stuff like that, help them out, or, whatever I can. Like a few people, I said, okay, when I come back, you really need this. I will find a way to send it to you. Took some people contact. Some people wanted wheelchairs. Some people wanted, blood pressure machines. I took, a list, and I'll try to help them with that. But, I just, I'm going to stress again, there's a big need to improve the healthcare system.
Let me ask
Go
this.
ahead.
I know that you all usually have a tea party and some other activities throughout the year to raise funds for these meetings, when you all come down the missions.
Yes.
When are you
So-
all going to be having your next activity? I think because especially understanding the situation, and on behalf of the people of Petit Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada, we want to thank you all so much for taking the time. We know all you have elections tomorrow, so all you have to run back up. But we like to thank you all for taking the time, the effort, and the finances, because this comes out of, a lot of this comes out of your own pockets.
Well,
You know?
actually, everybody paid for their own ticket. We didn't take the monies from the organization. We used that to buy supplies.
Yeah.
Our ticket, our hotel, our food, everything came from individual people's pocket.
Yeah.
And then we still like for the money for Carriacou, we each put a certain amount per person from their pockets, and then the organization. So then we had a member that matched what we did, and that's how we came up with the 5,000 US dollars for the Carriacou. So yes, for the dinner dance, it's usually the second Saturday in December every year. It's an annual thing.
So it's coming up just now. Make sure we have the info.
So yes, I'll send you the flyer December 14th, and it's gonna be at Glen Terrace. That's where we usually have it every year.
Anyway, Wendy, we quickly running out of time tonight, so
Okay,
I'm going to have to wrap on this one. But again, we want to thank you for the efforts, for what you all have done. We know that you all will be doing so much more in the near future, and we want to thank you all for all that you have done thus far, and particularly on this trip. I know I received calls from folks who listen to the program on a nightly basis, and they heard of the mission, and they were actually trying to get on to the specialists as well, but the local doctor had not put them through, so there was a problem with that. But again, we hope that you all would be coming back with a similar and other things soon, so that different people, not only those who doing the eye surgery and that sort of thing, but others can come soon.
Yeah, we'll do. We also had a customer service workshop, Sheldon. I'm gonna do this quick here because I know I have to go. Yes, we also did have a customer service workshop. They did give us the people for the workshop, specific people, so that was also helpful too. But yeah, we'll try to do this. If it's not every year, at least every 3 years, to give back to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit.
All right, thank you so very much, my dear, and we shall be in contact.
Okay, you're welcome. Take care. Have a good night.
Okay, same to you. Yes, indeed, folks. We were speaking there with nurse practitioner Wendy Ann Magua. We had to get the girl proper. Yeah, you had to get the lady she proper thing. Yeah. Yes, indeed, folks. So, yes, there is an issue that I want to raise in a short while. But before I go to that issue, let me take this call. Good night, ma'am.
Hey, Sheldon.
How you doing?
I'm good. So I was actually driving home, and I was actually listening on the car, and I heard you mention something, and I just wanted to call in. And, I really and truly didn't want to have to do this, but I feel as though there is a lot of information that is being passed around that is not accurate. And that's the reason why I wanted to call to correct it, because I kept getting a lot of phone calls tonight, well, earlier on today, with people, sending me screenshots and sending me stuff, with people passing off information as though they know the gist of my story, and they do not. And, I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it alone. But then when I heard you say it on the air again, I was like, no, I need to clear it up too. So that's the reason why I was calling.
Okay, so I'm speaking to Camille.
One of the things that I wanted to verify and say also, because the young lady was speaking with there, I was just listening with to her, who is a part of the Grenada, Carriacou and PD Martin Nurses Association. My aunt was also in Grenada because she's also a member of that organization, and she only came back yesterday. So doing this is not something that is, I'm not new to giving back. I'm true to giving back because it is something, I guess, that runs in my family. And one of the things that you said is that I send the stuff to AJ and he was the one that distributed. That was not what happened. Mm-hmm. Okay? So what really transpired was in 2020, when we had the pandemic, when Grenada was shut down, I was locked in at work, and it just happened that I was having a conversation with my mom, because prior to that, there was a children's home in Grenada that I sort of adopted under my wing by myself. And ever so often, I would make little donations to them in the form of groceries. And I always used AJ's business at the time, which was Hotspot. And the relationship that he had with my mom, whenever she would go in to get the items, was always a positive one. So depending on what it is that she would get, he always went above and beyond, and he would always, put in extra stuff that would go to the home. So that Christmas, because I know so much people was affected by COVID, a lot of people would have lost their jobs. I had reached out to him since that September of 2020 and indicated to him that I was interested in doing some food hampers, 20 at the time, to give to less fortunate individuals within my community where I live. And he did the hampers. I explained to him exactly what it is that I was looking for. And more or less, all he did was pack the hampers with the items that I would have indicated that I needed, and based off of his discretion, and everything was paid for. It was dropped off, and I was very satisfied. So because of that, I decided the following year that I wanted to do it bigger and I wanted to do it better. So instead of doing 20, I originally wanted to do 50. However, someone asked me for 10 of the hampers, and I said, I'm not going to make a fuss about it. It is fine. But instead of doing the 50 and giving that individual 10, I decided to increase the amount to 60 hampers and give the individual the 10, and then I'm still able to distribute the 50 that I wanted to. Mm-hmm. When I called him and I explained to him exactly what it is that I needed done, he indicated to me and he said, okay, since you're going to be getting that amount, I am going to charge you for 54 of it, and then I will give you the 6 because to make it the 60 because you are taking such a vast amount. I was pleased, I was satisfied, I was happy with it. I paid for everything. On December the 16th of 2020, when the hampers was dropped off to my mother called me and she basically was on the brink of tears. And she said to me, I cannot give this to anyone because I am disappointed with it. When I asked her what it was and she sent me the picture of the hamper, I myself was disappointed. And there were people who was actually assisting her that night who would have indicated and said to me, don't worry about it. We will fix it. We will make it work. And I said, no, because if I am paying someone for a service, I am expecting you to do your best and your due diligence in ensuring that what it is that I get is exactly what it is that I am paying you for. So when I called him and I indicated to him I wasn't satisfied, he asked me to send him a photo of the hamper, and I have every single thing. So what I am saying is not something that I made up, okay? It is factual information, and I have the evidence to back it up. He asked me to send him a photo of the hamper. I sent it to him. He himself was disappointed. He asked me to call my mom and let her know that he was sending his workers back with the truck to pick it up, and he will stay back and he himself will fix it. I indicated and I said to him, if it is a situation where there needs to be more items or it involves more money, please do what needs to be done and let me know, because the money to pay for it is not an issue for me. He said, don't worry, I will fix it. I got you. On December the 17th, around 5:30, the truck and the two workers who worked with him at the time delivered 55 of the hampers to my mom. Before the truck went, he sent me the photo of himself on the truck, letting me know that he was packing the truck and the hampers were going to be delivered to my mom. I said, okay, no problem. When my mom called me and I saw the hampers, I was very pleased. I messaged him. I indicated to him, I said, oh my God, I am in tears. I said, all I wanted to do was to ensure that individuals had a Merry Christmas. And because of what you did, these people will have a Merry Christmas. I also said to him, I said, may the favor of God rest upon you all the days of your life, because I am pleased with the work that you have done. December 18th, I called him. I messaged him actually, because it was supposed to be 60 hampers that was supposed to be delivered. He only dropped off 55. I messaged him and I said, hey, can you give me an idea as to the time that the people would be dropping off, your workers would be dropping off the hampers to my mom? He said they were busy doing whatever it is, but they would get there. He called me that day and I missed the call. But when I checked it and I saw that he called me, it was around 2:29, because that is when I messaged him back and I let him know the hampers was dropped off. Thank you very much. I will chat with him later that day. That same day, on December 18th, the picture that he sent me indicating that the hampers was being sent to my mom, he posted it on his Facebook page saying, this is what I do, or doing what it is that I do, or something to that effect. Someone saw it. The person reached out to me and they said, isn't that the hampers you literally just got from him? I said, yes, it was. And I said, you know what? Just leave it alone. You know, it's fine. It's okay. It is what it is. I didn't make a fuss about it because I didn't see a big deal about it. You understand?
And
but then yesterday,
Camille, one moment, please, because my time is running down. So we have to wrap it in the shorter version right now. Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
2 minutes.
So yesterday, when I saw that he made the post, I was not upset with him posting the photo. What I was more upset about is the fact that the caption he used with the picture was misleading, because you tried to indicate something that you did when that was not the case. And all I was saying was, don't do that. I paid you for a service when you had your business. I never asked you to donate anything to anybody. I paid you for the hampers. The hampers came to my mom, and we already had the people that the hampers was going to. So I paid you for a service, and I collected my items, and I did what I wanted to do because it was my initiative to do that year. And he came at me, and then he said to me, first of all, your hampers was delivered in a van, and second of all, sorry to bust your bubble, but there goes your 2 minutes of fame.
So after you spend your money, after you come up with your initiative, after all of that, your thanks at this point is trying to steal your valor. Not that you was looking for any fame or anything out of it in the first place, but also that sort of disrespectful treatment. And
That's
then on
it.
top of that,
And
to
all
block
I'm
you.
saying is, and as I said to people, I am never going to take away anything from him because my initial experience with him has always been positive, and I always held him in a high regard based on his character when I dealt with him. But after yesterday and the way he came at me, when all he had to say was, I am sorry. That's all he had to say, because you cannot send me something and then try to use it as though this is something that you did, because you are lying. And I am telling you that you are lying. And instead of addressing it and saying, you know what, I made a mistake, because it is okay for us to say, I made a mistake. We are adults, and I can respect you better if you say that and we move on from it. But instead of doing that, he decided to block me. He decided to block me.
That's the
So
sort of
as
behavior.
a government minister, and I am a citizen, if I disagree with you in any form or any way, or you did something that was wrong, and I am letting you know that what you did was wrong, your course of action is to block me.
One of the things I've learned about this administration, my dear, is that they never say sorry. They don't ever apologize, and they don't ever say sorry. But my dear, as much as I'd like to continue on it, we're quickly running out of time. So we're going to have to continue, because I know you have to speak about healthcare and some other areas as well. So I'm going to invite you onto the program sometime later in this week. Not next week, not next year. Later in this week again. All right, my dear?
All right, good night. All righty.
And yeah, make sure and give Cameron a kiss from all of us, huh? As she's gone. Yes, indeed, folks. And yeah, that is the thing. That is what the kind of behavior. This administration always thinks that they are too big. They reach where they're going already. So when it comes to say sorry, they always have a problem in being able to say sorry to people. Let's use an example.
How did this conversation come about oil and gas, and are you in possession of new information with respect to Grenada's hydrocarbon resources that you've not revealed to the national community that perhaps you want to reveal now on the Bob Report?
Well, first of all, let me make it clear that the Dangote Group did not, and if you watch the report, and you have to be careful about what newspaper people or news people say and what the company actually says. The Dangote Group itself did not, and I've not seen any publication by that group indicating that it is importing or seeking to import food or any petrochemical products from Grenada.
What, Mr. Prime Minister? You want to hear what you say there again? You have not seen what?
Did not, and I've not seen any publication by that group indicating that it is importing or seeking to import food or any petrochemical products from Grenada to whether it's Nigeria, Africa, or elsewhere. So I want to make that very clear.
So you have not seen anything by the Dangote Group where they're saying that they, and this is from the Bob Report, yesterday's program. Yes, so you have not seen any report where the Dangote Group is saying that they want to get petroleum from Grenada. You haven't seen any report with anything like that, Mr. Prime Minister? Nothing at all? Nothing at all? No way you've seen anything like that taking place? Okay, let me see if I can find something possibly that might be able to.
The Dangote refinery. The 650,000 barrels per day integrated refinery infrastructure is the largest anywhere in the world. And that's why the Prime Minister of Grenada, Mr. Mitchell Dickon, is the latest high-profile diplomat to absorb these masterpieces. Led by the chairman and CEO of the largest industrial conglomerate in West Africa, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, alongside key management staff, he begins the tour at the landfall, then to the jetty and the fertilizer plant, before making another stop at the central laboratory and the main control room, MCR. The team also makes a stop at the petroleum refinery and stop.
And I don't know why this has decided to stop there. Come on, you've got to play, yeah. Okay, decided it wants to give trouble tonight, yeah. So let's pull that. Yeah, I know how to get it, you know. I ain't worried about all your and that part there. I know how to get exactly what I want to play. Yeah, all you can't stop me from playing anything like that. Yeah, so Mr. Dangote and his group never speak about anything like oil and gas from Grenada. All right, okay, all right. Let me see. Let me reach down here. Let me see if we could reach a look apart here. Let me see if we could reach here. Right, and let me see if I could get that like this. Yeah, if you can't get one way, you get the next, right? Nice, right, yeah. So let's hear. Nice.
Achievement, an amazing accomplishment, a tribute to what a great vision Mr. Dangote has, not just for his company, but for Nigeria and but for Africa as a whole. So it's been a wonderful experience. The sheer scale, breadth, depth, sophistication, automation, as well as to see many very bright young Nigerians, particularly at the lab.
The Prime Minister is not only Prime Minister of Grenada, he's also the chairman of the Caribbean states. We're looking at also cement. We're looking at petroleum, to buy maybe some crude from them. Also to sell, to buy maybe some crude from them. At petroleum, to buy maybe some crude from them. At petroleum, to buy maybe some crude from them. Also to sell some of our.
So Mr. Dangote is saying here that he wants to buy some of our crude. Yeah, there are other reports that speaks directly to Mr. Dangote and his group wanting to purchase crude oil and so on from Grenada. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe somebody needs to send that to the Prime Minister because it doesn't seem as he hear Mr. Dangote, and Mr. Dangote said
to buy maybe some crude from them, also to sell some of our.
Yeah, so you want to buy and you want to sell. Yeah? He wants to buy and you want to sell. So Mr. Prime Minister, maybe you need to maybe your press people need to get them kind of thing to you to make sure that you could understand what is going on. Yeah, but what was even more interesting was that the Prime Minister confirmed what Mr. Gregory Bowen was saying in relation to the documents that the government claimed were missing and never came back to the Grenadian people and said that they had. So let's hear what the Prime Minister had to say in relation to that particular issue when questioned on it yesterday on the Bob Report by Dr. Kellon Bob.
Starting point for us has been to make sure we have a complete understanding of the current state of all of the country's contractual and legal obligations. I have had one meeting with a representative of GPG since that time, and we have been engaged with GPG to try and understand and get a full picture of where we are. You recall in Parliament, I indicated that part of our concerns was ensuring that we had a complete file and a complete picture so that we could understand that. The technical working group has since retained professional consultants, legal and technical, to provide further guidance to us. And so I will, by the end of November, provide the public with a comprehensive update on the work of the technical working group and where we are in relation to Grenada's hydrocarbon legal obligations, potential exploration, and any ancillary or additional matters related to it.
And Prime Minister, I'm glad you brought up GPG here, the meeting that you held with GPG, what was articulated in the throne speech that was last year in respect of the non-existence of files. Now, in the last week, Prime Minister, former Energy Minister Gregory Bowen said publicly that your administration lied essentially about not knowing the whereabouts of the oil and gas files. In fact, Bowen said that he met and communicated with you and your team on several occasions to assist with locating those documents. And that's quoting Bowen, he said, GPG also sent to you those documents. Now he's calling for an apology, Prime Minister, for what he says is putting his name into disrepute by claiming that there was no files, because that is now saying that has sullied his reputation. Now, will you begin by publicly apologizing to Mr. Bowen and explaining the contradiction between your statement and the non-availability of the documents that Mr. Bowen says is available?
All right, so let me start by saying to you, and with all due respect to you, I haven't heard what Mr. Bowen has said. And so I'm not going to, unless I hate myself, I'm not going to be in a position to respond to anything Mr. Bowen has said publicly.
Yes.
What I can tell you, though, is that when I made the statement in Parliament, I had not spoken with Mr. Bowen, and Mr. Bowen had not spoken with me or with any other members of the technical working group when I made the statement in Parliament. I can say so categorically, and Mr. Bowen knows that. So if he says anything contrary-wise in terms of timing, then that falls. So let me repeat. When I made the statement in Parliament, I had not spoken to Mr. Bowen. Mr. Bowen had not spoken to me, nor had he spoken to any members of the technical working group. Subsequent to, let me finish.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes.
That statement in Parliament, as part of my and the technical working groups and the Ministry of Finance, as well as the Ministry of Infrastructure, Public Utilities, etc., effort to, in fact, ascertain the state of the file and the whereabouts of the file. And after several questions, email chains, and follow-up with staff of the various ministries, we began to get pieces of the file and parts of the file. I was the one who reached out to the former Energy Minister and the former Minister of Finance and the former Minister of Public Works, Mr. Bowen, and asked to speak with him to seek his assistance in tracing the file. In that conversation, Mr. Bowen would have expressed then to me his disappointment that he thought the statement that we could not find the file somehow inadvertently or intentionally or unintentionally might have cast some sort of aspersion on it, and that he felt quite hurt about the matter. I made it clear to Mr. Bowen that I was merely stating the facts as I saw them, and that it in no way, shape, or form meant to say that he was personally responsible for any misplacement or disappearance of the file, and that the fact that I was calling him and seeking his assistance clearly meant that there was an issue that we were trying to find, and he subsequently provided some information that allowed us to find some of the files, not all. And second, we would have in our engagements with GPG throughout the process indicated to them that we would want them to provide us with their file, assuming their file was complete, so that we could have had a proper assessment of that. And throughout that process, both perhaps before and after I spoke with Mr. Bowen, GPG would have provided documentation to us. So what I'm saying is, subject to timing, if what Mr. Bowen said, he was clear that that happened after my statement in Parliament, then there's no contradiction. If he's suggesting that those conversations between him, me, and the GPG exchange of files and so on happened prior to my statement in Parliament, and obviously from a timing point of view, he's mistaken.
Right. So the question of timing here,
perhaps was paying particular attention to the time.
Now, folks, Mr. Gregory Bowen was live on this program last week, Tuesday, and he was very, very, very clear in his statements. He stated, number one, they went and they made the statement without checking with either Mr. Bowen or any of the staff that worked in that department before. The files were never missing. The files, let me repeat, the files were never missing. It was not a situation that the files were removed from within the government building or the government cabinet that they were, and that only when speaking to Mr. Bowen, the files were brought back. That was not the situation. The files, let me repeat, the files that they claim were missing were never missing. They went into Parliament, the throne speech. They went onto the news. They made various statements that the files were missing. And the files were always at the ministry in the cabinet. They had never been removed. That is the first thing. So when they went and they made the statement that the files were missing, it was a lie. Because they had not investigated properly at that time, but used the story of these missing documents and missing files as a political attack on Mr. Gregory Bowen and the New National Party to make it look like people leave and they go on with all the files. That is the impression they gave. So when Mr. Bowen's children go into St. George and go into different areas, you have people trying to talk for them, or your father take all the files on the ministry and go, we had to jail him just now. That sort of thing was taking place. Throwing word for Mr. Bowen's children and for Mr. Bowen. And we are saying, and I think Mr. Bowen was very, very clear. Any of you can go back to Wednesdays, not Tuesdays, Wednesday's interview with Mr. Gregory Bowen. And you can also hear his statements that he made at the last zonal meeting last week, Thursday. And he was very, very, very clear that the government has now been in possession several months since earlier this year. They have been in possession of the very files that they say they don't have. But they have never come back to the Grenadian people until this interview yesterday on the Bob report with Dr. Kellan Bob. This is the first time, and the Prime Minister has basically repeated what Mr. Bowen said. Mr. Bowen said he was contacted by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said he was contacted, but he contacted Mr. Bowen. He said that Mr. Bowen helped to find the files. Now he's claiming that some of them and not all of them, some files still missing. Well, if you don't know what files are, you know what files missing and all kind of thing. But he's still leaving out the little thing like somebody take something and go with it. GPG, I can tell you that I know for a undisputable fact that GPG offered the same Prime Minister, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, less than a month after becoming Prime Minister of Grenada, they offered him the files. And they made sure that they sent files to him and so on. So it is not true to say that they didn't have files and they don't know what's going on in relation to the oil and gas issue. It is a lie from the pit of hell. It is a political device being used to attack the New National Party and to try and shift attention away from the deals that they have made in Nigeria. Don't try to tell us you don't sign nothing, you don't go and think nothing in Nigeria and think. You know something went on over there. And all they want us to stop talking about it? No. But the Prime Minister confirmed everything that Gregory Bowen said. And all he has to do now is apologize for not coming out earlier and saying to the Grenadian people, hey, we had said we didn't get the files, we've got the files now. Now he's speaking about they're going to do, Mr. Gregory Bowen has now forced them, because it seems as though NNP is still in power now. So Mr. Bowen, through his statements, have now forced them to have a press conference. So they're coming, they say, before the end of the month, because they have to make sure that when they line proper. So they're coming before the end of the month to have a press conference in relation to oil and gas and what the committee has said. So if Mr. Bowen did not come out last week and speak into this particular issue, they would have said nothing. So the Grenadian people would have still had the belief that Mr. Bowen and others take the files and go with it. And government can't find it, so they can't move forward on oil and gas. Because they don't have no files. Had he not opened his mouth and said anything, because had he not said it, the Prime Minister wasn't coming out and saying nothing, but he have to admit now. He have to admit now. It's an indictment on this government. And as we said, speaking with the young lady a little while ago, speaking with Camila a while ago, in relation to the situation with Andy Williams, all he had to do was apologize, All he had to do, even if he just wanted to do it directly to her, apologize. But you saw the attitude. You heard the attitude that he gave this person. Well, you feel it easy to be living out in the States and take your own money to do things like that? Well, you know the kind of taxes people who live in New York does get hit with when you get your salary and thing and you see them tax and them hit you. You're crying, you know. You're hearing your salary is that and and when you see the tax man pass, it's a different story. So for somebody out in New York or wherever, Canada, wherever, to make those contributions that they have made, like Camille made, and then to have somebody out here do that sort of thing to her, and then treat her disrespectfully, and they will not apologize because they are not big men and women. So they try to double down when they do things, or just try to come up with another something so that you forget about it. It is simple. All they have to do is come out and say, Mr. Bowen, we apologize. We cast aspersions on you due to the fact that people believed and we gave the impression that you take the files and go. And as such, we apologize. Yeah, that's all they had to do. But instead of doing that, well, I didn't hear Mr. Bowen, so you lie. You telling me you didn't get a briefing in relation to what Mr. Bowen said on Talking Points last week and what he said during the zonal meeting last week? Mr. Prime Minister, you lie. You well lied too. So how come you don't know what Mr. Bowen said, but all of a sudden, all you have a meeting, you know to have a meeting of the committee by the end of this month? Because he made the statement that they're going to be having, the committee led by Nazim Burke in relation to oil and gas exploration will be having a press conference by the end of this month. And that had to be triggered by something. So it must have been triggered by the statements made by Mr. Bowen. So don't give us the impression that you didn't hear what he said. You lie. All you all had to do is come out and say since earlier in the year, okay, we have gotten the files. The files that were there, we've located where the files are. The files are not missing. We have located where the files are. The files have not been placed outside of the government remit. The files were located inside of government all the time. So nobody didn't take it and go with it. It was located in government. And at the same time, admit that GPG, within weeks of you becoming Prime Minister, offered you all the files that they had in relation to oil and gas. Admit that. Gosh, man, all you have to lie like that? What do you benefit by lying like that? Because you're going to be exposed. You will be exposed. I mean, come on. It is simple. And I think that there may have been a mistranslation there. Because when Dr. Bob asked it, the Prime Minister spun the thing as to it's a matter of when Mr. Bowen is saying that they got. No. Before you even approach Gregory Bowen, as you admitted you approached Gregory Bowen, and as Gregory Bowen has said, you came to the Grenadian people and you tell us you can't find the files. You didn't attempt to ask him any questions at that point in time. You didn't speak to the people who still working within the government service. You didn't speak to them to find out, well, where are these files? But you come to the Grenadian people, you don't have the files. You don't get no transition report in relation to oil and gas and so on. That is the responsibility of the permanent secretary with responsibility for that. And if all they shift them around or so, all they didn't specify, remember all they had transition leads. And all that time they walk in and passing right in front of the files in the ministry. The files were never missing. But if you go online now and you type missing files, oil and gas, Grenada, it pops up. So it impinges on Mr. Gregory Bowen's character, which is what he was saying. So if the World Bank decides that they want to give him a job as a consultant in relation to a project in the Caribbean right now, the government of Grenada is saying this man involved in files disappearing. If the OECS Secretariat decided that they have a 6-month project and they want to hire him to handle the project, he can't do it because you have people out there thinking that the man thief a set of files and he gone and he been involved in some sort of corruption. And you had close to 8 or 9 months, enough time to make a child. You had close to 8 or 9 months to clarify to the Grenadian people that you have made a mistake, that the files were never missing, and that the former minister had to physically come down and ensure that you all could locate the files together with the staff that was still working within the department, and even those that were shifted other places. So you all lied is the bottom line. You lied. Because you all made a statement that was not true. The files were never missing. And you all have the Governor General now reading into the Hansard. This is the record that's in Parliament. That 1,000 years from now, when they're researching and they get that, they're going to say, okay, somebody, the thief files in Grenada at that point in time. And you all have made no effort, until Kellan Bob asked you that yesterday, no effort to clarify and say that we got the files. It is simple. Anybody with class and a little pinch of decency would understand what Mr. Boeing is saying. He's simply saying, you all claimed you didn't have it. I helped you all to locate it where it was. And it wasn't with me, it was with you all the time. So I helped you all to locate it where it was all the time. You all could have simply come out and said that you got the files. You could have simply come out and say that. That's what the man aiming at. You could come out and say that you got the files. Instead of that, they're just there still giving the impression that, well, we don't have to apologize, because if he's saying, even if he's saying that you all were saying that before you contacted him, you all lie. Because the files were never missing. You all just did not ask for the files from the public officers that were responsible for keeping it. You all never asked for that. So don't blame Mr. Bowen. Don't blame the New National Party. Blame your own incompetence. So I go into a ministry and I'm looking for something, I ain't go ask the person. I mean, look, I held a certain position before. I know that within my office there was a cabinet, and you had certain documents within that cabinet. You know that the permanent secretary had certain documents by them. You know, within the secretariat and different areas, if you're searching for certain documents that they're there, your secretary would have different documents. So you could ask your secretary, hey, I need to see the document in relation to this project or that project or so, and they're able to bring it to you within a short space of time. And a lot of things these days are digitized, so it's also stored on the hard drive within different departments and so. So to give the impression that you couldn't find it, the only aim and objective of that statement, that nonsensical, idiotic statement that our Governor General was forced to read, that idiotic statement was based upon trying to damage the New National Party. That's the only reason it was made. And you need to apologize to Mr. Gregory Bowen. Simple. Apologize. Even if you just want to take it from the point of, we took too long to come back to the Grenadian people and say that we got the files. And in that space of time, he has lost several opportunities that he could have had, to earn a living for himself and his family, considering that you all owe him 67,000 US and he hasn't been paid. When he could have paid himself, but he leave it so. But you come now trying to twist it. For instance, the Prime Minister was asked about travel yesterday. And I realized he did that on GBN. He did it on MTV. He came back and he did it again on the Bob Report yesterday. I wouldn't play it now because we quickly running out of time. The Prime Minister was asked about travel and the extravagant travel of his government ministers. The Prime Minister is only speaking about the last 6 months. So you ask the Prime Minister about travel. Here now, all you. Let me explain something to all you. A question was posed in Parliament in relation to the travel of government ministers. It's still there in Parliament. It's still coming up. So there is still a question on the order paper in Parliament in relation to travel of government ministers. This government has refused to answer. Let me repeat again. This government has refused refused to answer. Up to this point in time, they have not answered any questions in relation to the travel of government ministers. The question that was posed by the leader of His Majesty's opposition, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, the former Prime Minister of Grenada, was to kindly state all of the travel since the 23rd of June by various government ministers, what events they attended, who funded it, and the size of the delegation, and what was the reason for each people on the delegation. That was asked by the leader of His Majesty's opposition in the parliament of this country. Over a year now, they're refusing to answer the question. But the Prime Minister comes with his lawyer tactics now and trying to encapsulate the discussion about travel within the last 6 months, and then to even encapsulate further down to a further subset that he's only talking about himself. Mr. Prime Minister, we're not stupid in this country. Stop disrespecting our intelligence. We're not speaking about you alone in the last 6 months. Because if we're speaking about you alone, we're going to be speaking about you from the 23rd of June. So you have to tell us about the trips to Dubai. You have to tell us about all the other trips that you took during that period of time. And we are glad to know that you have accepted the new National Party's policy from since they came in 2013 of ministers only traveling when the inviting agency is going to provide the tickets and so on. But let me ask you, who providing the per diem for all your pile of people that are traveling along with you? Who is providing the per diem? Who is providing the other funding for other aspects of the travel? Who is doing that? Because you all refuse up to this day. Today is the 4th day of November. That question, if I remember, has been there since the ending of 2022 or early 2023. That question has been there on the order paper. And the last thing was that the Minister of Finance say he can't answer that because travel is difficult to get the information in relation to travel from all the different... You lie, Mr. Minister of Finance. You lie. The entire thing is a computerized system. And if you're looking under the code for travel, you can cut it across to all the different ministries and you could pull that information in less than a morning. But they just refuse. You have one government minister has been outside of this country for more than a month for the year. Well, you have, in fact, nearly every minister has been out of this country for over a month for the year. Every one of them. And it's trying to encapsulate the discussion only within the last 6 months and only about yourself. You're Minister of Education with all the schools mashed up in Carriacou during the vacation period when you should have been here working hell hard to ensure that that was sorted out. With the issue with teachers not being paid. With the issues with the school feeding program. With the fact that people cannot get books under the book program. With all of these things taking place, your Minister of Education disappeared from the state for 3 weeks. Your Minister of Health disappeared on private business for nearly a month. So who are you trying to talk about? Oh, the only place I went is I went to see cricket. And so, Mr. Prime Minister, we're not stupid. We're not stupid. So if we're speaking about you doing too much travel, yes, the hurricane hit in July. And as such, you reduced on your travel. You couldn't travel as much as you want again. But give us the information that's been asked through the Parliament in relation to your travels. In relation to your travels from the 23rd of June 2022 to now. Give us the information. Let us know how much was spent, because we know by the end of 2022, the amount of money you all had spent on travel already had far exceeded what the new National Party was spending on travel over a couple of years. It had already exceeded that. So don't give us this impression, unless you all have just accepted it now and decided to use the methodology of Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell and his cabinet, that if you're traveling, that there has to be a situation where you're invited to, let's say you're invited to Sri Lanka, that the Sri Lankan government is going to pay for your tickets, and they are going to pay for your hotel accommodation and your meals and everything, your ground transportation, everything over there. That they are going to fully fund it. That is the only reason you're picking up your bag to leave Grenada to go to Sri Lanka. But don't try to give us the impression that that is what was taking place on the 23rd of June, Mr. Prime Minister. We're not stupid. It are not stupid people listening to this program, you know. We're not stupid. So don't try to cover the argument into just the last 6 months. There was a lot of traveling in the 6 months before that. There's a lot of traveling in the year before that. There was a lot of traveling since the 23rd of June. Who traveling and taking their boyfriend with them? Who traveling with all kind of executive secretary, cameraman, all kind of thing with them? So don't give us that impression. We're not stupid. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Good night, Mr. Scott.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Not too bad, you know, and good night to all our listeners and viewers. A quick question.
Mm-hmm.
In the Prime Minister's interview yesterday, right, on the Kellen Bob show, he made mention of someone paid for his travel, some organization or so. Could you let us know who was that organization?
No, I had made a clip in relation to that one, and for some reason it didn't load to my computer. But he did say that Mr. Dangote paid for his travel from the UK to Nigeria. He said that he was supposed to travel from the UK to Rwanda and then from Rwanda over to Nigeria. He didn't say who was paying for the travel from Rwanda to Nigeria, but he said Mr. Dangote paid for his travel from, well, not paid for, but provided travel, because he did make the point of if he had traveled commercial. Traveling commercial means you're traveling with one of the airlines like the commercial airlines like Air Emirates or wherever. So it means that he traveled privately. So in other words, Mr. Dangote sent a private plane to collect him. Now,
From London.
Right. Mr. Dangote is an individual seeking to do business with the state of Grenada. As such, what the Prime Minister received for himself and his entourage could be considered a bribe. According to the Integrity in Public Life Act, the Prime Minister was supposed to declare the moment Mr. Dangote approached him and said that he was willing to do that. He was supposed to report that to the Integrity in Public Life Commission. It is not a situation where you are a government offering that. If it's a government offering that, and it could be considered a disrespect or an embarrassment to Grenada to refuse the travel, that's one thing. But in this case, it's a private individual who is seeking to do business in your country, and it goes against the Integrity in Public Life Act.
Most definitely. And I mean, we just need to keep on clamoring about it. But I will also try and pick up on that clip, Sheldon, where he said that some organization paid for the trip to go to Rwanda and wherever. Right?
He said the Afri-Exim Bank was paying for that, and that he offered to reimburse them when he decided he's not going Rwanda. I do not believe the Prime Minister's story, because the story about the Marburg virus was out publicly a full week before he packed his bags and leave Grenada. So I don't believe it.
The Prime Minister and his team continues to lie. And that brings me to...
1 week before, you already had people dying in Rwanda with this thing, you know.
Yeah. And
1 week before he left. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, no, because what I know is that usually when you have outbreaks like that, okay, a bulletin coming from the World Health Organization will go to all health governments and so right around the world. So it's not something that our government wasn't aware of. So that's a poor excuse, you know? And so, I mean, that clearly shows us, right, how this government treats the people of Grenada. Disrespect. You understand? No regards to how people in Grenada feel as to what they do. They just don't care. Need to know, and everything like that. I mean, how can a country run like that? Right? When you have a group of men just continue to lie. And it brings me to the Minister of Health. when he was a Minister of Housing and Social Development, in a conversation with the minister told me, right, that it was not the cabinet, but it was the public workers, the workers that working in the ministry that made the mistake, right, about taking out the people on the seed program, the 150 from them. He told me that personally. It was not them. It was the workers in the ministry that made the error. Sheldon, that was the most blatant lie, right, coming from a politician. You understand? And we just leave it, let it slide and everything like that. So it clearly shows from the word go, these guys were bent on deceiving the Grenadian people to get into office. Now that they're there, they have to continue to lie. Anyhow, my brother, have a good night.
Thank you so very much, my bro.
You take care.
All right. And yeah, I listen, I've traveled before. Before you leave, you get a briefing on where you're going, what you're going to do, these sort of things. And so usually you might even have a schedule of what is taking place. They tell you about sometimes what are some of the dangers according to where you're going. You may know of some of the dangers, etc., etc., etc. So Prime Minister can't tell me leave here and didn't to go Rwanda and didn't know it's a Marburg virus. Come on, please. We have a call online. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Mr. Scott.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm calling from the North Neck State as usual.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Now, I want to know who appointed that Governor General, because I mentioned that before. That Governor General is supposed to be neutral, but she is NDC. Every time she leaves, she put Tillman Thomas there. Now, she read this false statement, and she didn't come out and say, after they found the file, she still didn't come out and say, well, let's get some clarification here. What is what? Why did you make me read this false statement? She never said that. She is a part of it also. That's my, I know you cannot comment on this because you are in Grenada. I don't trade. I'm not in Grenada.
I can't
Grenada and they
wait.
can't stop me.
Me can't comment.
I have yours. No, I know you're afraid.
No, hold on. I ain't afraid of nobody. I ain't afraid of nothing. You obviously don't know me if you think I'm afraid.
Yeah, but why she hasn't addressed that? Why?
No, you have to understand. When you hold the position of Governor General of Grenada, you are a representative of Her Majesty back in the days, His Majesty right now. The statements you make, any public statement you make, is considered to be the king himself speaking. So until she demits office, she cannot make any... For instance, Sir Daniel Williams, God bless his soul, he was laid to rest today. And again, our condolences to his family. He was seriously attacked by the then NDC back in 2008. When he demitted office, I don't think a lot of people remember that. This man had to hold a press conference to defend himself, you know. When they was talking about how he thief land and all kind of thing, the man had to hold, but he could not say it while he was Governor General, because any statements he made at that point in time would have been reflective of Her Majesty at the point in time. It is the same situation now. Now, the throne speech is not written by the Governor General. It is written by the ruling administration at the time. So what is contained in the throne speech, while she reads it and she says, my government, it is reflective of the government themselves. So it is not her.
Oh, okay,
she could,
okay.
she could have said that I will not read that. She could have refused. It would have caused an impasse, but she could have said, no, I am not going to read that section. That has to be removed and so on. She chose to read it, so she has to take her own personal responsibility for that. But whatever she read there was written for her. Yeah? So in this instance, the Governor General may not be able to say certain things, may not be able to do certain things until she is no longer the Governor General. Yeah?
Okay.
Again, and I'm again using the example of Sir Daniel Williams, that he had to call a press conference to defend himself. That was the indignity that he was faced with when he demitted office as Governor General. He couldn't say it while he was Governor General, so he had to defend himself, and he had to come out and do that after the meeting office. Yeah? So I hope that clarifies it a bit for you. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, thank you, sir.
No problem, my brother. Yeah, I hope that clarifies it a bit for you. So in speaking now, anything the Governor General says, and understand that please, anything the Governor General says, the Governor General is not speaking on her behalf. She's speaking on behalf of King Charles. Yeah? Anything she says, any public statement she makes, she's speaking on behalf of King Charles. She is the King's representative until such a time as we decide we no longer want to have the King as the head of state of Grenada. The Prime Minister is the head of government, but His Majesty King Charles is the head of state of Grenada. The head of state of Grenada has a representative in the Governor General. She is the representative of the head of state, so she's basically the head of state here in Grenada, but she's representative of the true head of state, which is the King. So any statement she makes is reflective of the King himself. And I think we have a caller. Okay, we lost that one. And that was probably the last opportunity we had to take a caller tonight. It is now 10 p.m. Folks, we're going to continue the conversation tomorrow night. We won't have a guest on with us, but there are some other aspects of the interview that we want to speak about tomorrow night, and one or two other issues that we didn't get to speak about, the fire in Carriacou and all those things. So we're going to be speaking about that tomorrow night, God's willing. All right, folks, and for all of you in the United States of America, from sea to shining sea, who have not yet voted. I know a lot of you vote early and think you get it out of the way. So for all of you that have not yet voted, make sure that you use the opportunity to go on out tomorrow and get your vote on. Yeah, make sure that you're going out and vote tomorrow. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. In everything you say, everything you do, do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Love each and every one of you. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'm out. And tomorrow night, more pressure.
This is Malax again. I say my back broad is broad. Michael Battis, please don't take my bail. I want to go in jail. I want to go in jail. What you know about Black Pat and Bond Pat? Hey, call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Smallhouse in custody. Dr. Mitchell is a real world boss. He begged them fellas to come to class. Well, you know that all of them refuse, and now the whole nation confused. One jump and sell Miss McQuinca, Tevin cause them teachers for water. Big corruption inside Latu, but baby Jesus make like go. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Smallhouse in custody. CJ and AJ turn engineer, both in River Road and Molyneux. Is to see them with a helmet, telling us when project will complete. I'm telling you now it's 2 years plus, and like the project start to revert. No River Road and much more flood, and Molyneux full up with more. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Smallhouse in custody. I really thought Randall Robinson bad, but the man is a real big coward. Came Jones say fire Larry Barry, fire him as the secretary, but the man he really Fred Millie. Come and tell us how some people say. Came Jones say by no fluffy old talk, tell them fella time to pack and walk. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail, and I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Smallhouse in custody. If all you see the farmer banker, ask him the reason he get fire, and if he pretend he ain't know, Ask him about the house in Maribo. And if he want to create trouble in me life, I go send him a number for me wife. And if he really want to make confusion, tell us Malax have other woman. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail. And I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Malax in custody. I want to be like the Prime Minister. I want to travel the world more regular. I want to go Dubai and Nigeria, pose with millionaires and take out picture. And I don't care if teachers ain't getting paid. Like donkey, let you jump and breathe. A popular more than GTA is my name what's selling this country. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail. And I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Malax in custody. It took me a while to realize when Dennis just said that he's surprised. He said he's surprised at NDC and all them fellas is RMC. He said he invest plenty money over the years, work with the party. But the one that real surprised me, so test school in Kalima don't see. Call the police for me and arrest me like Ziggy. I prepare to break a jail. I don't want nobody stand me bail. And I tell them call the police for me, even though I'm not guilty. I know haters will happy to see Malax in custody.